Alright, hello, how
Hi.
are you?
Good.
My name is Angela Di Pasquale.
I'm Sophia.
Okay, so I'm glad that you're here today. And so today we're having our first initial assessment just to get a better understanding of what brought you in today. And I just want to remind you that this is everything you say to me is completely confidential except for a few exceptions. And this is just a safe environment that I want you to feel comfortable to talk about whatever you feel is necessary. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Angela Di Pasquale, and identify myself as being half Latin and half Caucasian. And my two primary languages are English and Spanish. And so I was hoping if you could tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I was born in New York. I'm American. My parents are both from the Dominican Republic. In the area where we lived, everyone spoke Spanish except for me. So
Okay.
for some reason, I grew up speaking both English and Spanish, but I guess I started learning more English and didn't really practice my Spanish. And so yeah, I just don't really identify with my Latin side, which is kind of the reason why I came today, or part of the reason.
Okay. And so, from what I'm gathering, your primary language is English, but in your household, the primary language was both English and Spanish.
Yeah, it was mainly Spanish, but because of me, it was English.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that you said that you ethnically, like you're biologically part Hispanic, but you identify yourself more with the American culture.
Yeah.
And so, why do you think that is?
I don't know. My sister, she was older than me. She mostly spoke to me in English, even though my parents spoke to me in Spanish. I guess just going to school, even though all the other kids also spoke Spanish, I mostly would talk to them in English. And I guess I just never really used my Spanish. I don't know why. It's just the way I grew up.
Okay, so it was just your environment. English was more was that easier access to than speaking Spanish because with your peers you speak in English then.
Yeah, I don't know. It just must have been easier for me to communicate in English because even though everyone else spoke Spanish, I just didn't really register anything.
Okay, and so, I know there's just a few differences and similarities between us. If we are both women and we are both part Latin, except a difference would be that I do identify myself with my Latin culture, and my primary languages are both Spanish and English. And you identify yourself more with the American culture, and your primary language is English. Is that okay? The differences that we have between us? Or?
Well, I'm used to it. Everyone always spoke Spanish and identified mostly as Spanish, so I'm used to being the one who doesn't. But it's not an issue between us. It's more something. You know what? It makes perfect sense that I would get you as a counselor.
Oh, okay, good. Hopefully, I can even help you. This can be a bonus to our counseling. And before we continue on, I was just wondering, is there anything else you would like to know about myself that could maybe help make this counseling session a bit more easier? Or?
No, I think we can just keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That sounds good. And so, I was wondering, what is your view and what is your culture's view of counseling?
I think I never knew much about counseling growing up at all. Or if I did know anything about it, I thought there was maybe a stigma that it was more for difficult problems or like personality disorders, or if someone died and you really need to talk to someone. But I was hesitant to come to counseling because I felt like my issue is so minor, but it's something that's happening all the time. It's coming up a lot, and I just don't feel comfortable anymore. I kind of feel like I need to talk to someone about what my problem is without having someone judge me or tell me what I need to do about it.
Oh, then you're at the perfect place because we are here meant to ever judge you and just to listen to you and together find a solution to your issue.
Sounds good.
And so, if you could maybe tell me, in your opinion, when did this issue start?
Well, um, I'm dating someone who identifies as Puerto Rican, and he speaks Spanish fluently, and that's mainly what he likes to speak is in Spanish. But because of me, he will talk to me in English, but he'll struggle in trying to get things out. I mean, we communicate pretty well. It's just, and like I can understand what he's telling me, but I guess I just feel like I should make more of an effort to understand his culture and just my own culture and to learn the language finally so I can communicate with his family and with him and with my own family.
And so, from what I'm hearing, this was a struggle you had since you were younger, that you wanted to be more integrated into your Latin culture, but when you got this Latin boyfriend, it was something that more provoked you to want to actually do something about it then?
Yeah.
And, I just want you to know that's completely understandable about, we go through different stages in our life through identity, and we're constantly changing how what we attribute our views to which culture we are. So I just want you to know that's understandable, that you're still not sure which identity you have culturally. And what do you think are some values that you have being both an American and a Hispanic?
Well, from my Latin culture, I know it's important to be with your family, to really spend time with them, to cook, definitely to cook, and to cook Spanish food. And I don't really know how to cook Spanish food, how to talk in Spanish. In the American culture, it's more to kind of eat out, really be independent and do your own thing. And I don't know, I take values from both. Like, I want to be with my family, but I also want to be more independent. And I want to learn how to cook just in general for myself. So
Well, that's great that you can try to mix both your cultures together cohesively then.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I
And
just definitely want to learn to communicate with my family more and not have to make them speak English for me, but I can speak Spanish for them.
and so I applaud you for coming here today, because like you said, it was a little bit intimidating to go to counseling, and like you said, it doesn't matter how big or how small the issue is, it's still an issue and you want to address it. And I think that's great that you are beginning the steps so that you can accept yourself as being both Latin and American. And so, do you feel pride in yourself for both cultures, or?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't really feel like I identify with my Latin culture at all. I feel like almost ashamed that I don't, because everyone else around me always has, and I always felt like the odd duck in the group. And with the American culture, I've always, even though I identify with it more, I'm not even that proud of it. Like, there's a lot of things about the culture that I wish would change or could be better. So I guess it doesn't help to identify with a culture you're not even proud of more than the other culture that you wish you could identify more with.
Well, it seems like you're very hard on yourself, possibly. But that's good. I guess maybe that's your motivation to want to learn more about what aspects of each culture you like. And so, what do you think is a goal that you would have then to assimilate or to identify more with your Latin culture?
I guess I just want to be more confident about speaking in Spanish, because I've always wanted to learn. What always stopped me was not being confident when I spoke it, and I felt like people would make fun of me. So I guess, if I could get over that, it would help me to actually keep practicing it instead of giving up or saying, oh, it's not worth it.
Um, yes, I just want you to know that it's completely normal how you're feeling. Like, whenever we're not good at something, we're sometimes scared or hesitant to do it because we don't want to look silly. But, the only way of learning is by actually doing it. And so I think that's great that you want to be confident and learn the language so that you can interact with your boyfriend more and with your family. And so maybe what is a way that you can try to, little by little, increase your confidence with the language?
I think the biggest part is not to care if anybody says anything about when I talk in Spanish. But I do care, which is the big problem, so.
Okay, so that's true. One way is learning how to care, maybe to possibly try to have a more positive outlook on it. Maybe you can try to set like little homeworks for yourself, like ask your boyfriend to practice with you, ask your family to practice with you, and like not to expect yourself to be a fluent speaker in a day, but maybe like say, okay, every day I'm going to try to learn one new word. So by the end of the week, I will have 7 new words. And then, just step by step.
Yeah.
And so, all right, we're coming towards the end of our session. And I was just wondering if there was anything else that you felt that we didn't cover, or if there's any last things you would like to say.
No, I guess just thank you for letting me know that I should maybe not be so hard on myself, and to be to look at it more like I'm trying to learn instead of caring about what other people think.
Okay, great. So I'm so glad that you came in, Sophia, and I look forward to seeing you next week and you telling me how these little goals are going.
Sure.
All right, bye.
Bye. See you next week.